So this was the episode that I had been waiting for. I knew this show could have an episode like this. I just knew it had that type of potential where so much stuff went down, and this was it. Now, I was already looking forward to episode 6. Why? Because, well, we were going to meet Polly, and we met her, and it was even better than I could have imagined. And I just have to say a huge props to you guys, because so many of you figured this out. Like, was the script leaked or something? No, you guys are just really smart, because you knew Polly was pregnant, that she was probably trying to run away with Jason. That's why Jason ran off. You really connected the dots here, but I have some questions about Polly. Here's the thing. So we had a live chat today, and just a heads up in case you've come to them before or want to come to them, they're now at 5 p.m. Eastern. I know that helps a lot of people who live outside the U.S. because it's really late where you guys are, and this is a little bit earlier now that my other show, How to Get Away with Murder, is over. So 5 p.m. Eastern, live chats on Fridays till the end of this season. So hope to see you at 1 if you haven't been there before. But there were a lot of people raising questions about Polly. So Polly seemed like the nicest girl ever, right? And her little story was so sweet about how Jason wanted to run away so they could be together and raise a family, and everything, was set up in that getaway car and all of that good stuff. But you know what? I think there's more to the story, and a lot of you guys do too. I think something else might be going on with Polly. I think there's something to what her parents are saying. She might have some mental illness. She may be a bit delusional. I'm not really sure yet, but I'm kind of thinking that her happy story about them running off, raising the baby, everything's going to be okay, is a little bit in her mind. So the thing is, remember earlier in the series, Betty had said that Jason had broken up with Polly and she was totally devastated. So we could look at this one of two ways. Maybe they got back together. Maybe it was because she was pregnant that they got back together and they decided to try and make this work. Or maybe she told him she was pregnant and he freaked out and left and broke up with her. Or maybe he broke up with her even before that. I have no idea, because we really don't know anything about him. And what makes me sad with this show is that we have yet to see really any type of flashbacks to let us know what kind of guy was Jason. Because I just know secondhand, and I want to get to know him. I want to know, was he this terrible jerk that wrote people's names down in a book to score points? Did he even actually do that? Or was he a nice guy who would run away with his girlfriend because her parents kicked her out for being pregnant? That's what I want to know. Because it's hard to make judgments and theorize about him specifically when we have not seen any flashbacks with him. So Riverdale, please give us some flashbacks of Jason so we can learn more about him. But anyway, still think there's more going on with Polly. And now we see in this episode that she has escaped the home that she was in. So I don't know what that means, because she looked very pregnant. Anyhow, we know she's pregnant. We know that somebody, I want to believe her. And Betty was like, we can know if her story is true if we find that car with some of Jason's stuff in it. So let's talk about the car. First of all, can we just have a minute for Jughead and Betty? I'm loving them together. I was getting those vibes last week. I was like, I think they're hinting at something here. Yes, and then they kissed this episode, which was awesome in my opinion. I really think they're super cute together. And I think it's good for her to focus on someone other than Archie, because he doesn't have time for her. So yes, go on and find someone else. I love it. But in the car was a lot of interesting stuff. We had Jason's letter jacket, looked like some suitcases and stuff, and then we had a lot of drugs. Now, there'd been that rumor before about Jason and drugs. So here's what I want to know. Was Jason a drug addict? Was he selling drugs because he knew he had a baby on the way, so he wanted to make money for his family? Or did someone else plant those drugs there and he didn't really even plant anything in that car, and they were trying to frame him, but that never got discovered? I don't know. The good side of this is that you think that he was selling drugs just because he wanted to, help out his family, even though drugs, that's never the way to go. We know he comes from a very wealthy family, but they probably weren't going to help fund his lifestyle if he moved out. So we have to figure those things out. Secondly, in classic teen horror show fashion, we saw someone spying on Jughead and Betty as they were discovering that car. So who was that person? I know some of you think it could be Kevin's dad. I think it was Ralph in the live chat who thought it was Kevin's dad. Not Kevin's dad, Jughead's dad. Super, super sketchy Jughead's dad. So they called the police, which usually in these types of shows, the police, even no matter how friendly they seem to be, they're not really on your side. In this case, we have Kevin's dad, and the sheriff seems really cool and really nice, and probably nicer than most sheriffs in most shows. but can we trust him? You know, they called in that information. Will that backfire on them? Will that make them appear to the police that they're involved somehow in the murder? What's that going to do for them? Because Betty, you know, she wanted to do the right thing. She's like, let's call this in to the police, and that is the right thing, but will that backfire on them? I don't know. Gosh, there's so much in this episode. So they were also hinting last week that there may be something romantic going on with Val and Archie. We had that confirmed this week, but of course that made Veronica very jealous enough to try to join the Pussycats once Val dropped out. And then eventually all of them reunited for their performance at the talent show. And I really enjoyed, out of all of the Josie and the Pussycats performances that we've seen so far, I thought this one was fabulous. Which brings us to Josie's dad, who we met for the first time. This guy is just such a loser. Basically, you can tell he wants to have Josie and the Pussycats together the way that they were, minus Veronica, because he wants to market them and make money off his daughter. You can tell he doesn't care anything about her happiness or her talents. He's all about making money. I feel like he wants to be the stage dad for this group and the manager, and it's just not good. The worst part was when, you know, Josie she really cares about what he thinks, and during their performance at the talent show, he walked out, which like destroyed her, which is awful. So he is the worst dad of the year. He wins that award. Not surprised that someone burned that car, back to the car, that Jughead and Betty had found. So there goes the evidence, but who was that person? Obviously it's someone connected to the murder of Jason. So as far as who do I think killed Jason, I still think that is a big question mark, even though we got so much information this episode. I don't think I'm ready to say yet, but I will say this. I feel like they cleared the names of Mr. and Mrs. Cooper, who are Betty and Polly's parents, because I just felt like all along they were big red herrings, and after the dialogue in this episode, I'm pretty sure that neither one of them did it. However, I still feel like, as I said, I think last week, that one of the parents definitely could be the killer. It would be kind of cool if there were multiple people involved. I don't know. We'll see where they go. But we also had Fred and Hermione hooking up, which is Archie's dad and Veronica's mom, which was a big deal for Veronica because they're both still technically married. Now with Fred, him and his wife are separated, but as far as Hermione, I'm not really sure because her husband's in jail and I don't know what kind of situation they have, but yeah, they're both still married, so not the greatest of things, but you know, Veronica took that really hard. We didn't have Cheryl in this episode. I'm not the biggest fan of Cheryl, but I think we're going to see her character develop a lot throughout the series, and I definitely think a lot of that crazy act that she puts on where she's just the meanest girl ever is, you know, kind of a front because she's treated so terribly by her parents, especially her mom, so she wants to seem like she's super tough and she can take anything. A lot of people who act that way, they're just like putting on an act because they don't want to let anyone know that they have insecurities just like all of us. So again, I really hope you can come to a live chat. They're so much fun because we get to theorize together, and it looks like next week's episode is going to be about Jughead. So as far as the Jason mystery, not sure how much we're going to get into that, but regardless, I think even if it's a slower episode, I know there will be more episodes like the one we had this week to come, so I'm really excited about that. I just started a new show for you guys, and that's Big Little Lies, which is on HBO. And for now, I'm just going to be doing live chats every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern, so I would really love it if you've been watching and you would like to come and join in as we theorize about that show, because yes, it is a murder mystery. And if you haven't caught up, you've only missed 2 episodes as of this video. Sunday will be the 3rd episode, so if you have access to HBO or I watch it on HBO Go personally because I like watching it on my own time. So if you do have access and you're interested, I do recommend the show. A lot of huge actors in this show. But if you don't have access, I can totally understand that too, because HBO is kind of different. Not everybody has that. But anyway, that information is down below. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye! Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.